What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon or evening for some of you by now. And we've got some more PFF stuff to look at. We're doing the defense in this video. We're going to take a look at what PFF thought of things on the defensive side of the ball. Again, you have a game where you allow 3 points and, like, what was it, less than 220 yards? Something like that. Things went well, right? You didn't get any turnovers, but you got a ton of quarterback pressure and you stood strong at the goal line twice. Like that's going to lead to a pretty positive result overall. But let's break it down a little bit. Let's see who played well, maybe who didn't play so well. You guys know the drill on this one. I'm going to go through various PFF charts here, just trying to find some interesting data. Starting with the defensive side of the ball, again, this is not going to be a video where we assume PFF got everything right, nor is it going to be a video where we assume PFF got everything wrong. I think some people do both those things, and we're going to try to do neither. Excuse me. So let's start on the defensive side of the ball, grade it out. Hankins was our top graded defender, which is very interesting because he did not grade out too well the first couple of games. And by the way, that comes with a quarterback hit, which that is not really Hankins's game. He is not a QB pressure guy. So welcome to the backfield. Hankins played a good game and was a standout defender here. Awesome stuff. Happy to see it. We needed it yesterday, guys. We needed it. So Hankins, good stuff. Tyrell Dodson was second graded with the 77.3. He picked up his first sack as a Seahawk. And you can see that overall they thought he played a really good game. Some of the run blocking grades maybe not so great, but tackling was good, coverage was good. So Tyrell Dodson, it's going to be hard to keep that guy. We are not going to be able to afford that guy in all likelihood. I'm going to say it right now. He's playing way too good, building on the success he had last year in Buffalo. Tyus Bowser, 12 snaps, but we're getting nice snaps out of our depth edge players that are only playing because of injuries overall, it feels like. Last week, Gibson was graded out pretty well. This week, it's Bowser. So, do your job. Doing his job. Jaron Reed was next. He had his best game of the year by far, got a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. Planned to play a lot of the game because of injuries. And the top five rounded out with Derick Hall, who actually got dinged significantly on his run defense and tackling, and yet it didn't matter because he was such a good pass rusher, and oddly enough, in 4 coverage snaps was graded out better than anybody. I think he had our highest coverage grade in this game, which, look, it's a small sample size, but edge players are asked to drop back in coverage sometimes. So when you see a guy like a Derick Hall come back with almost an 80 PFF grade in coverage, I don't think that's nothing. It's not a big thing, but it is a thing for sure. So Derick Hall rounds out your top 5. And then you've got rounding out kind of the area of the guys who played good but not stand out. You got 5 more guys here. Kavon Wallace came out well. Ray Sean came out good, so we're getting good safety play. Trey Brown, Julian Love, Tariq Woolen. They still list him as Tariq on PFF, by the way. Kind of interesting. Given the fact that we'll get to this in a second here, Tariq Woolen didn't allow any receptions in coverage. And I know it's easy mode. I know the quarterback on Miami can't really throw the ball. But the dude allowed 0 receptions. I would certainly give him a grade better than 63, but whatever. Granted, it was easy mode. I get it. And I don't think he got involved in any statistical categories in this game. He didn't have tackles or anything, but I don't know. That's just me. If I'm seeing a cornerback not allow a single catch throughout 54 snaps and 34 coverage snaps, I'm probably giving him a good grade. And then we kind of fall into the doldrums here. Mafe, not graded out that well, mostly because of run defense stuff, which both of our starting edge players in this game got dinged heavily on run defense, which Miami didn't run the ball, so they must be seeing something very specific there that didn't end up hurting us. But 2 pressures from Mafe, by the way. Pretty good, but not necessarily stand out. Kobe Bryant, BruÄ, Witherspoon. We'll get to Witherspoon a little bit later in this video, but not a good game for him. One of the worst games he's played as a pro, and his negative play stood out because there was so little to criticize anywhere else. Some people are going to start to worry about him a little bit. I'm not worried about him. This might be a typical sophomore slump. It happens, and he's just got to get better and work on the stuff that is currently presenting a problem, because there are problems right now, but I believe that Witherspoon is a hard worker who will get it addressed. Not worried about it long term at all. Tyrese Knight, BruÄ, kind of interesting there. I thought he played a little bit better than this, but the coverage continues to eat him up. He did get his first career QB pressure, though, so congratulations. Gibson, Thomas, and then you start like Draymond Jones. Like something's not right here. I'm sorry. Draymond Jones played really well yesterday. You can't tell me he deserves a 48.8, especially when in all the specific categories, run defense, tackling, pass rush, coverage, he didn't score below a 452 on any of them, and he scored a 52 on his pass rush grade when he almost led the team in pressures. Like, this is goofy. This doesn't make any sense. I'm going to have to do some diving into Draymond Jones to figure out why they did this. This doesn't make sense. 48.8 for the game that he played makes no sense. Byron Murphy, also not making a lot of sense. 46.6 grade. Granted, he didn't play that much, so it doesn't mean anything, but he got a QB pressure in his short time on the field. I don't get it. Leonard Williams, terrible grade, but he only played 5 snaps, so that doesn't mean anything. And then Pritchett and Morris round things out with some really bad grading down here. The Morris one's interesting, right? Because he's a guy that I want to get more rep, more burn in the rotation. But if he is actually playing this poorly, there's not much you can do about it. Pass rush stuff real quick. You guys already saw it on the previous page probably, but if you didn't, Hall, 6 pressures. Wow. Jaron Reed, 4. And Draymond Jones, 5 led the way. The team continues to live in the backfield. Again, they're playing teams that are making it relatively easy to live in the backfield, but they're doing this without Uchenna Nwosu. We got a pressure from Murphy, pressure from Hankins, pressure from Knight, sack, actually, from Dodson. So we probably got pressure on almost half of Miami's dropbacks overall, and they turned into sacks. We actually got a bunch of sacks in this game. It was either 5 or 6, depending on how you want to score it. But really, really impressive, fun stuff from the pass rush in this game. Again, I don't really know what PFF is doing here. They gave Draymond Jones a 52 grade, which is well below average for a game where he had 5 QB pressures, which is maybe his best game as a Seahawk. In fact, I would say it almost definitely is. And he gets the same grade as Mike Morris, who doesn't get a single pressure. Something about that doesn't pass the smell test to me. Yeah, that's pass rush stuff. Coverage. Yeah, coverage, I mean, paints a pretty clear picture of what happened in this game. The only thing that really stands out to me is like alarming would be Witherspoon. I didn't know this watching the game. I didn't notice it was this bad. According to PFF, and we'll see what PFR says later this week, Witherspoon allowed 49 completion yards on 8 targets, which is not terrible, but against this quarterback, it kind of is. So I don't know what the heck happened here. 8 targets, 49 yards. Witherspoon's probably a little embarrassed about that, and combined with the penalties and the missed tackle, that tells you that something was not right. Tyrese Knight, also not a good game in coverage, but again, he's a rookie. I'm not surprised by it. I don't think anybody should be surprised by it. 5 targets, 52 yards. That's rough, but in a player in his position, I'm not expecting anything great from. And then you had Drake Thomas and Pritchett get beat up a little bit, but they're part-time players at best. I don't trip about that. The things that stand out here, they didn't give a single completion on Woolen. They didn't give a single target on Love or Wallace. Or where is he? Yeah, Kobe Bryant as well, and he actually played a pretty decent chunk of the game. He played 19 coverage snaps. Rayshawn, 5 targets, 9 yards. Really, really fire stuff there. Tyrell Dodson, you can see why he got graded out so well. 1 target for 4 yards on 33 coverage snaps. So we are definitely going in the right direction when it comes to most of this coverage stuff. The only alarm bell I would sound after that game would be Witherspoon. And at the end of the day, right, we have to remember they're going to complete passes on somebody at some point throughout the game. I just assumed it would be somebody who wasn't Devin Witherspoon, who I know is going to take this personally. Right. So the only other thing to really talk about would be missed tackles. I'll go back to this page. You can see here, this is really, really impressive. They gave the Seahawks 4 missed tackles. I don't know if you guys can read it, but Derick Hall had 1 missed tackle, according to PFF. Julian Love had 1. Witherspoon had 1. I think we all remember that one. And then Drake Thomas had 1. So that's remarkable. That's really, really impressive. I'm really, really happy about that. I mean, it's almost impossible to lose a game when you're playing that well in terms of tackling and you're playing against an offense like that. That's the only way they can win. You miss a lot of tackles and they get a lot of yak. Didn't happen. So the only other thing left would really be special teams, but there was nothing stand out in special teams. Mike Morris was the highest graded guy, but it wasn't like he did anything over the top crazy. There were a couple guys who graded out low, but it was O'Connell was low because of the penalty that called against him. And then you had a couple other guys near the bottom here, but there's really not much to say about the special teams. It's just kind of, you know, you look at the numbers and you shrug your shoulders and you say, okay, that's another game that the Seahawks played. That's it for the PFF stuff this week. The defense played really well. You look at the individual grades and you're a little bit surprised at how tepid it was. You are playing on easy mode. I understand that and I respect that and I empathize with that completely. But you would think that a 3-point game where you don't even allow anywhere close to 250 yards would be a little bit better than this. All right, guys. Probably another video later today. If not, I'll see you guys on Twitch, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow with more videos. But let me know what you guys think. That's your PFF grading for this week. Pretty good, man. PFF likes the Seahawks so far, but they got to keep it up. We got a lot more work to do.